Good morning, guys. Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Steven. It is 5:39 in the morning. I got a good night's sleep last night. I did wake up a bunch of times to hit the little boy's room. I'm not sure why I told you that, but I did get a fairly good rest, which is nice. Not always what I get on layovers, especially where we have to wake up early in the morning on the East Coast. It's especially challenging. But I planned to wake up at 4:30 or 4:45. I ended up getting out of bed at 5:15. Yeah, for a 5:45 van, which means I had to run down here. But I still had time for coffee. And yeah, let's get to the airport. We're on a 319 apparently to Atlanta, and then another 319 to Vegas. So that'll be nice. Think it's humid. Hey there. All right, so we're on the plane. Very funny. We went through KCM, and you know how often I'm randomed? Well, Mary has this theory that if you're the first person going through KCM when they set up KCM, that you're going to be randomed. Well, yesterday she proved it. Was it just yesterday? She proved it by having someone else go before her. They got randomed, and we're like, look, her theory works. This morning, I'm like, I'll do it. I'm randomed anyway. I'll do it. Guess who got randomed? Mary. It was very funny, but that was the funny bright point of the day, because we have potentially a dark point in the day in that there is no captain assigned to this flight. As of 6:06, when our paperwork was printed, there was no captain. So our first officer is on the phone with scheduling, finding out what's going on, but. Yeah, so it's always go home day. If something happens, it's go home day. We'll see. All right, so there are many truths as a flight attendant, but there are two that come to mind this morning. First off, anytime you need something on a snack or beverage cart, it's always going to be on the other side of the cart, no matter what time of day, what time of night, what kind of flight it is. If you need a muffin and you know it to be on this side of the cart where you are, it's going to be on the other side every single time. It's just a truth. It's a reality. If you're a flight attendant, tell me I'm wrong. I'm not. I'm right. The other truth is, if something is going to go wrong, it's going to happen on go home day. On the last day of the flight is when things go wrong. Right now, we don't have a captain. We need one of those. Now, on my app, it shows that we have a full flight crew. On our first officer's app, it does not show a full crew, but there's no captain listed. And then on my paperwork, which was recently printed, does not show a captain. So before we board, we're going to find out if a captain is going to be on their way. The flight is light. This is an A319. This plane holds, I can't talk today. The plane holds 145 passengers. We have 111 booked or something like that. So boarding should be nice and easy once we do start that. But if you remember me having a challenge, was that a month ago, 2 months ago, where we did not have a first officer, and we boarded anyway. An hour and a half later, we deplaned. And then we all had to stay on the plane until 7 o'clock in the morning the next day to fly to Baltimore. Do you remember that? Yeah, that's not happening this time. So we're going to wait until we find out we have a captain before we start boarding. But, yep, it's always go home day if something's going to go wrong. Oh, also, this is one of our older A319s. It's probably scheduled to be retired soon because it's just old. It works. Our planes are some of the safest in the industry. It's just that this one has seen its better days. We only have one lavatory on board that works. The other one up in front is inoperative. The one we do have working back there is really ragged. So yeah, this plane is going to go out of service very soon. All right, well, I'll keep you updated. I'm just hoping this doesn't mess with my getting home today, because I just want to go home. It's been a long trip. So I'll see you soon. Wish me luck. Okay, so our original captain was rerouted and then now has since been rerouted to work this flight again. Yay. Did I do something to jinx myself earlier? Did I say something to jinx myself? This has been a very difficult flight. So we boarded the plane at like 6:35 in the morning. It's exactly 10 a.m. Oh, it's exactly 10 a.m. We just had to deplane the plane. Something is broken with the plane. And you know, this almost never happens. I always hear it happen in other airlines, but we had a mechanical issue that may not be able to be fixed on this plane. But the communication with the ground here at the gate and the plane was broken completely. People were getting off the plane because they had children they had to feed. They weren't expecting this delay. All sorts of reasons. And then apparently the gate wasn't letting them back on the plane, which is not as it should be. It was just not a lot of good communication. But, yeah, and no one knew anything. We're waiting for some information from ops and from scheduling and from mechanical and blah, 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 blah. It's just been a nightmare. Really been a nightmare. Yeah, it's been a lot. And to be the only person, because we're on a 319, I'm the only person up in front, and like all these people looking at me with the with the looks, and I'm trying to keep up my energy and make sure everyone's as happy as possible and informed. Thankfully, our first officer speaks Spanish fluently, so he was able to make announcements as well in Spanish to make sure that those people who couldn't understand me were informed as well. So we were very lucky there. The biggest silver lining today is I have a captain. My captain is amazing. He's been here for a real long time, and he, along with us, the cabin crew, was very concerned with our passengers' well-being and comfort, and so he really fought to make sure people could leave if they wanted to or had to. But in the end, we just got notice that we had to deplane everybody, and that's awkward. It's always very, very awkward, especially if you're by yourself up in front, It's just very awkward. But we'll see what happens. It's 10 o'clock. I think we were supposed to be taking off from Atlanta around now to head home. So I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to stay on the plane. Number one, because crew scheduling hasn't let us know what to do. And number two, it's terrifying out there. All those very unhappy people talking to our gate crew or gate agents, one of which is really inexperienced. She's brand new, and this is the first time any of this kind of thing has happened. So it's a little overwhelming for her as well. I'm sure I would not want to be in her shoes at all. They're doing their best. But blah, 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 blah. So that's my 3 minute and 25 second update as to what's going on and what's not going on. So I will see you later. All right, so I'm not quite sure what I've shared with you already, but as it stands, it's 10:45. Crew scheduling called me to notify me of our schedule change for today. So we are going to be operating the flight from here in Miami to Atlanta at 1 p.m., which means boarding should start at about 12:15. The challenge is that flight is supposed to operate on the same plane that we're currently sitting on. That maintenance, I don't believe, things can be fixed by then. So it's not a huge problem, but it's enough of a problem. So we're supposed to operate a flight at 1 o'clock on this plane that's currently broken. And then we're supposed to deadhead tomorrow from Atlanta to Las Vegas. I don't know what's going to happen, but whatever happens, if I don't get back until tomorrow, that means that I have a trip that I picked up, a 2-day trip that starts the day after that, the next day. So I'll be scheduled now to work 7 days in a row, which if you're a flight attendant, you already know, or if you're a not and you understand the rules, we're not allowed to work 7 days in a row. So they're going to have to pull me off that 2-day trip. I do get credit. I do get credit hours for that. I'll miss out on the per diem, of course, but it's not a lot of per diem. It's a short 2-day trip. But yeah, I just don't understand what's going on with crew scheduling. What I understand crew scheduling to have to be doing at this point is they're kind of like playing chess. They're moving schedules around. They're moving us from pairing to pairing. I'm sorry, that's not very attractive, is it? They're moving us from pairing to pairing. They might know that this plane's not going to work, but they are trying to move schedules around like you're playing chess or checkers to see what's going to really work. More like a jigsaw puzzle than chess. So I understand why they're doing what they're doing. It just feels weird on this side of it. You know what I mean? I just have to trust the process. Hey guys, hi. So I'm still in Miami. It is 12:44 in the afternoon. We have been here since 6:30, before 6:30, for our check-in. Crew scheduling contacted us a few hours ago, letting us know we were going to be working a flight to Atlanta on this plane at 1 o'clock, and then it was changed to 2 o'clock. And so we've been kind of hanging out here since. Someone just recently refreshed their schedule and saw that our flight was actually now canceled. But yeah, there's very few ways they could possibly, seeing that there's no flights out of here where we have to go, it would be difficult for them to get us home legally with the number of hours on duty today. So what's most likely going to happen is they're going to deadhead us tomorrow. But we have no hotel information. We have no information. This scenario goes through the cancellation team. So we're waiting for them to contact us, but it could take hours and hours. And there really isn't a time limit, I don't think, for them. I know that I've waited longer than 5 hours to be contacted. So I don't know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. So, yeah. My job is pretty consistent and pretty easy. You know, when you're interviewing, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I love the how every day is different." You know, as a flight attendant, every day is different. Well, every day isn't different. Every day is pretty much the same thing. You're arming the doors the same thing. You're using the same vocabulary. The passengers all end up being kind of the same too. So every day as a flight attendant, for the most part, is exactly the same, and that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. It's just like today. Today in this situation is very different, and it's kind of a poop show. I'm not happy with it, but I have no power and no control. So I just have to sit tight and wait for cancellation team. Wish us luck. Yeah, I'll let you know what happens. All right, so Roy and I are going to try and find a place to sit and get comfortable closer to the exit, waiting for crew scheduling to let us know where we're sleeping tonight. And as I think Roy's waiting for a sandwich, Kathleen, if you're watching, Kathleen, a lovely blonde flight attendant for my company, she said she said she saw me standing here, and I was like, "Oh, hey, what tail number you're flying on?" You know, and she said to me, "I can't believe he's talking to me." As if I'm a celebrity or something. But she was very, very nice. So, Kathleen, nice to meet you. I hope to fly with you again. In the future, I should say. But yeah, we're going to try and find a spot to camp out here at the airport and wait for some info from scheduling. See you later. Well, it could be worse. I know. We're just both grateful that we slept last night, because, you know, sometimes you don't, and that would have been a nightmare. But we are in the shuttle on the way to the hotel. Very happy. Oh my God. Hey guys, I am dead. I am dead. I'm numb. I'm thoroughly numb. Wow, what a day, what a day. So quick synopsis. You've been with me the whole time if you've watched the whole video, but quick synopsis. I woke up at 5:15 this morning for a 5:45 shuttle. I don't know how I pulled myself together. Well, it doesn't take a lot of work to get this going. Look at this face, right? Um, get to the airport. We had a 6:30 a.m. showtime. We were there a few minutes early. Get on the plane. We did not have a captain. Our captain was pulled from our trip to work a Bogota flight. Then, when we didn't have a captain or anyone who could replace him, they pulled him from that trip to work our trip. But we were forced to board the aircraft with our passengers, and it was roughly, I'd say an hour, I'd say probably 50 minutes to an hour before we actually got our captain. So our passengers were on the plane the whole time without us being able to do anything because we didn't have a captain. People were already getting antsy. I mean, the flight was supposed to be an hour and 27 minutes, and they've spent most of that time already on the aircraft. So they were getting a little bit antsy, but most of them behaved themselves really nicely. Only one or two were giving us a little bit of a stink eye. You know, it was not comfortable, but I could just hide behind the bulkhead, you know. So we got our captain. We pulled away from the gate, got out to the tarmac, and then there's a mechanical issue. So we had to go back to the gate. And you can imagine how happy everyone was. Sarcasm. Pull back to the gate, and the captain told me what the problem was, but the problem didn't sound like it would be confidence building to our passengers. So there's a mechanical issue, and it was important enough that we did not want to take off. So the captain told our passengers enough information that we were returning to the gate, and that there was a bit of a mechanical problem we should be able to take care of soon enough. Well, that soon enough was another hour plus. So our passengers had been on the plane for a very long time. We're not allowed to serve snacks or beverages on the ground, and we weren't going to be doing tarmac, which is water and little snacks or cookies or something required by law after a certain amount of time, since the door was open and we were at the gate. So if we were pulled away off on the tarmac or something with the door closed after an hour and a half, we would start our tarmac delay. Yeah, it was a mess. People just wanted to get off the plane. Some of them had children that were just, they had plenty of snacks and stuff for the flight, but they didn't have enough to plan for like 3 or 4 hours on the plane. So I'm sneaking juice and stuff to some of the people with kids, and don't tell the company. But the kids were, whatever. There was a 1-year-old who was sucking an empty bottle because they didn't have anything else. So what was I going to do? Right? Don't tell the company. I don't want to get in trouble for an apple juice. I'll pay for the apple juice. Yeah, it was just very frustrating. A bunch of people wanted to get off the plane. And then apparently when they did get off the plane, they weren't being let back on the plane for reasons I can't determine. I don't know who was telling them they couldn't get back on the plane, but they had their boarding passes. We weren't going to take off, blah, 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 blah. I'm getting upset just thinking about it. But thankfully, I had an amazing captain, an amazing first officer. They were flawless. All of our captains and first officers are wonderful, and to a degree. Some of them are more humane than others. And the two that I had today, our flight crew, were just the most amazing men. They were just good human beings. Our captain went out and took care of things and spoke to whomever he had to speak to get our passengers back on the plane. Our first officer spoke Spanish fluently and was able to make announcements in Spanish in addition to my own announcements. And he did it in a very sweet, nice, comforting, patient kind of way. You know, some flight crew can be like, bah, 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 you know, and he was just a wonderful guy. The success from this morning is that passengers, when we eventually had to deplane, and we did, The success is that many of the people who left the plane thanked us for our tone and how we approached this. So that was a huge success, I think. So I was really, really happy about that. But there were a couple people who were really upset. One passenger wanted off the plane. He was so upset because he heard these noises that he could not identify, and just automatically assumed that the plane was broken in a way that was unsafe. It was the pneumatic system moving fuel from one part to the other. It sounds like a little bit of a dog, through the middle of the aircraft. But he was like, no, this plane isn't safe. I'm not staying on it. Okay. It was just really, honestly, barely controlled chaos. The passengers were good, but they were losing their patience after a bit. So, thankfully, eventually we had to deplane and get everybody off the aircraft. And they, for the most part, did that orderly and patient and respectfully. So it was good. But we had no communication at all from the company, of course, in situations like this. We have a cancellation team. I don't know what that is or who it is, but it is not a fast process. It's not a speedy process, because we were told on our schedule that our flight, we were going to resume flying at 1 o'clock on the same aircraft, same flight number, going to Atlanta. It wasn't going to happen. We knew it wasn't going to happen because the plane was broken. There was something wrong with them. That was a mechanical. And we told crew scheduling this. Didn't care. Didn't seem to matter. So they pushed the flight back another hour, I'm assuming in order to give us time to repair the damage or the plane or whatever was wrong. I don't know. And then, I don't know, we sat in the plane, trying to take naps, snacking, talking. We couldn't really get off the plane because there were passengers still in the gate area. Eventually, they canceled the flight. We stayed on the plane because we had not heard yet from the cancellation team or crew scheduling, and we did not want to walk out of the plane into the midst of all the passengers who were probably very upset about being canceled. So we hung out on the plane. We just waited on the plane for hours. Eventually, we noticed the cancellation show up on our schedule, so we called crew scheduling and eventually found out that we were going to be staying here tonight in Miami. I'm in Miami right now. Mary got an alternate deadhead, so she is finding an alternate route home. She lives in Denver. She commutes to Las Vegas. But Roy and I came to the hotel, the new hotel, for our rest. This is not the caliber of hotel that we usually stay in. It's not as nice as we usually get. The room looks okay. There's just a soulless quality to it that just kind of makes your skin feel dry and itchy just sitting in the room. It's not a great hotel room. There's like this vintage little box on the wall, which is back in the day before we all had Wi-Fi, we had to plug our computers into the wall. That whole setup is still here. I will show you the best part of this hotel though. Look at this. That is the best part of this hotel. Look at that view. Isn't that pretty? It's just like a picture, just like a painting. Very, very pretty. That's the best part of this room, except for the bed. The bed looks very, very, very comfortable as well. So that's my day. Tomorrow we're going to be deadheading from here to Las Vegas. And then tomorrow, when I get back in Las Vegas, I'm home. My bags are put away. I'm going to call crew scheduling, which is going to be a lot of fun. I am owed what's called a DOR, Day of Restoration, as tomorrow, when I'm deadheading to Las Vegas, that is my day off. It's supposed to be my scheduled day off. So instead, I am going to be flying back to Las Vegas. Deadheading is still duty. It's still considered a work day. So since they're making me work, deadhead, on my day off, they owe me another day off, which I can apply towards another trip in the future next month. So I have to call crew scheduling and find out what day would work for them. That will also work for me. That day has to be mutually agreed upon. So I already know what trip I'd like to apply it to. If there are times I might have to work part of the trip and deadhead back, or they might just take me off the entire pairing if they can't do that. So we'll see what happens. I might have a whole trip removed from my schedule that I'd be credited for. I'd still receive credit for it, but I won't have to work it. That'd be nice. Also, I know this video is like much longer than I expected it to be. Also, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, I'm supposed to work a trip. I'm supposed to work to Louisville and then stay over in Louisville and then fly back to Las Vegas. There are 2 legs back to Las Vegas. So it's just a 2-day trip, but it's a 2-day trip following a 4-day trip and my day off. So it's going to be 7 days in a row with a 4-day trip, a deadhead day, and then a 2-day trip. So that's 7 days in a row. And if you didn't know, we're not allowed to work 7 days in a row. So they're going to either have to work the first day of that 2-day trip and then work me that day and then deadhead me back that night before midnight. Or take me off the entire pairing completely, and I'll still be credited for that 2-day trip. So we'll see what's going to happen there. But this one day has totally thrown the rest of my month into a bit of a tailspin. So we'll see what happens. But I'm not sure if I said this earlier, but I'm sure I did, about that every day being different. It's not really. It's every day is the same. Yeah. Being a flight attendant, pretty much every single day is pretty much the same in terms of the language we use, what we do, arming our doors, serving guests. All that is really the same. The faces are different. And the views outside our hotel rooms are different. But the job, for the most part, is the same pretty much every day. It's things like today that really test your mettle, where you have to prove that you've developed some patience, because you really need it. You need it for days like this. But a great crew, my crew, I could always look at any of them and be understood. Like we could all just look at each other and understand, and just make a little eye connection or something. And it was just so good to have a great crew. This trip with a bad crew, boom, right in the head. It wouldn't have worked. But let me stop talking. I need to eat something, but I only have, I only have stuff in my bag for one more sandwich. They have breakfast tomorrow morning, so maybe I'll wait to eat until a bit close to bedtime, and then I'll have breakfast tomorrow morning here. I don't know what I'll do, but I'm going to end this video here because it's probably way too long for a day like today. But thank you for being here with me. As usual, on a day like today, to knowing that there's someone watching this, following the journey, made me sort of handle it in a brighter mood. Like if I were just in my own self, I would be like so upset about today. But at least today I'm like, well, this is interesting content for my viewers. There's that silver lining. All right, blah, 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 blah. I keep talking. Let me let you go. Thank you very much. Fly safe.